In this mini masterclass, we're going to be covering the really important subject of trust and high-performing teams. And here's the $6 million question, which is how do you shorten the trust-building process so you can help any team get up and running quickly so they are making effective decisions and achieving effective results. So the whole trust-building process can take months, if not years. So as a coach or a consultant, if you can reduce that process, then you're bringing incredible value to your clients. And in today's mini masterclass, we'll be talking about one technique and one tool that you can start applying. So before I get into the subject, if you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm Sequant, business psychologist and founder of Grow More Leaders, where we equip coaches, consultants, trainers and facilitators with the tools and the training that they need to be able to grow more leaders. So on today's subject of how do you accelerate the process of trust building, one of the techniques I'd like to share with you is something called the outside in technique. So before I really dive into that subject, I want to be absolutely clear that this is about getting to the truth faster. So if you really want to accelerate the process of trust building, I'm proposing that we don't go down the route of using case studies and using best practice from other organizations, because every team is unique. So this really personalizes it in terms of getting each team member to interview at least 5 people further down the organization who are impacted by this team. So whether it's a project team, a middle management team, a supervisory team, a change team, an executive team, a leadership team, they will all have an impact on others within the organization. So imagine if a team of, let's say, 8 colleagues were each to interview 5 individuals within the organization. So this is a one-to-one conversation. And the key question they're asking them is, what can we do as a team that would allow you to perform more effectively? Or what can we do as a team that would make your life much easier? And the whole idea that this is a detailed conversation, that's at least a 20 to 30 minute conversation. And the whole idea is that it's an exploratory discovery conversation. Tell us about what we do well. Tell us what we don't do quite so well. Tell us where we've had a really positive impact on you. Tell us where we've had a less effective impact on you. Tell us one thing that we could be doing as a team that would make your life easier. So imagine 8 individuals in the team, each doing 5 interviews. That's 40 sets of data, anecdotes, stories, examples that they're coming along with to a team building activity. So the team building activity is based on real data, not some survey that was done 6 months ago. This is real-time data. And the whole idea here is that you pair people up as part of this team, where one colleague then interviews the other colleague with a view to getting to the truth faster. So the whole idea here is that colleagues are building trust in 2 ways. One is by being a generous listener. That's a really important part of effective team building, where colleagues can actually be a generous listener and allow another colleague to speak their truth. So remember, each team member is coming with real world data. So the idea is that the pairs interview each other, these colleagues interview each other, and that activity itself could be something like a 20-minute interview one way, 20-minute interview the other way, 40 minutes in total, where we are really getting to the truth faster, identifying what the trends are, what the patterns are, what the real issues are, the crux of what other colleagues and employees want from this team. So the pair then connect with another pair to form a subgroup to consolidate and pool their learning. And then only then does the whole group come together and actually consolidate their overall top 2, top 3 key topics coming through about, as a team, what do other colleagues and employees want from us that would make their life easier. Now, in the process of having this conversation, the team is having honest conversations. They're beginning to put themselves in each other's shoes. They're beginning to actually really role model being a generous listener. And remember, trust is earned by role modeling the right sorts of behaviors. And the right sorts of behaviors are typically being a generous listener. It's about asking high quality questions. It's about not sitting in judgment. It's about helping your colleague make sense of what's going on in their world. So this activity, this technique achieves two outcomes. One is it gives the team an outside-in perspective that's real, that's current, that's based on stories, that's based on anecdotes, but it also accelerates the process of the team really having honest conversations. So that's the technique. The tool I'd also like to share with you that you can build on the outside-in technique. The tool itself is the values cards. And the values cards really get to the heart of what motivates and what drives each team member. In other words, other than money, why do you come into work? What gives work purpose and what gives work meaning? Now that can be quite an abstract topic. It can be so broad and so vague, but in the process of 20-30 minutes, each team member works through by putting down what's critical for their motivation at work, what's important, what's desirable, and what's not applicable. So they lay these grey cards out, and then they work through these statements, and there are 52 statements in total. For example, I value being challenged, I value being given ambitious targets and projects, I value taking risks. So the headings are challenge, scope, which is breadth or depth. You've got autonomy and accountability, you've got work-life balance, you've got being part of a team. But in total, there are 12 headings. There are 12 intrinsic motivators here, and each individual is identifying what's critical, what's important, and what's desirable. And then the same process is repeated where you get colleagues working in pairs, working in subgroups, and working as a whole group with a view to really identifying for each team member that's part of this leadership team or project team, what drives them, what gives work meaning, and where are we similar as colleagues and where do we differ? And in terms of the differences, how do we be respectful of that? How do we really help each team member to bring the best version of themselves to this team? So, in summary, you've got one technique and you've got one tool that you can use in any team building activity with a view to having open, honest conversations, get to the truth faster, and help a team to accelerate its trust building process. Now, if you've gained real value from this mini masterclass, you can dive into the subject of growing more leaders on a free workshop that I've got. The details are in the description below. It's about 45 minutes long, so grab a notepad, take your time, work through this free masterclass on this important subject of how do you grow more leaders in a way where you facilitate workshops rather than teach or train workshops. And there's a world of difference between brain-friendly facilitation and PowerPoint-led training. And our emphasis is all about brain-friendly facilitation. I'd love to hear from you. Drop your comments below about what you found helpful, and let me know what future training you would find helpful, and I'll try and do my best to develop some valuable content for you. Please click on the subscribe button if you'd like notifications of forthcoming videos, but thank you, and I will see you on the next workshop.